What do all of these songs have in common? Living after midnight, rocking to the dawn. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. Shook me all night long. I said to you, shook me all night long. Well, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. No, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. Big wheels keep on turning. Carry me home to see my kin. Yeah, she's back in the atmosphere. Drops of Jupiter in her hair. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like a rolling stone. Like a rolling stone. Go on, take the money and run. Go on, take the money and run. Well, what do they all have in common? They are all played with exactly the same chord progression. Possible? Very possible. What do you think you know about the 1-4-5 chord progression? What is a 1-4-5 chord progression? A 1-4-5 chord progression is when you take, let's go take the key of G. Every major key has a corresponding major scale. If you don't know how major scales are made and how the diatonic chords in each key are made, please check out my video on diatonic chords. I will put the link in the description down below. It will be very helpful in helping you to understand this and other kind of chord analysis videos that we're going to be doing. So 1-4-5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So 1-4-5 would be the chord built from the 1 first degree of the scale, which in G would be G major. The 4th degree of the scale, which would be C major, and the 5th degree of the scale, which is D major. And this happens to be, in functional harmony, the tonic, the subdominant, and the dominant. And this is probably the most prevalent chord progression in music history. It is certainly the simplest. It gives you a full journey from the starting point. You have the tonic, which is home. You have the deviation, which is the subdominant. You have the tension, which is the dominant, and then you have the resolution, back home. So it's a full journey. And some of the history, where did this come from? We've been using this for years and years. Bluegrass, the old bluegrass and the traditional country cowboy music, especially group bluegrass, which was, with all that fast flat picking and everything, was based very often on 1-4-5 chord progression, of course, with variations, and it can get a lot more sophisticated than that, but I'm talking about in its most basic elements. Certainly bluegrass, blues, which was coming up around the same time, but just in different areas of the country. Blues, especially in the urban centers, the Chicago and the Texas areas, well, they started to adopt a kind of a very standardized 1-4-5, the 12-bar blues kind of thing, And I'm abbreviating it. there's your blues shuffle. And it's a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. The 1 is clearly the key that it's in. The 4 is the subdominant. The 5 is the dominant, and then back to the 1. And then rock and roll came along, and it seemed like every Chuck Berry song, who, in my humble opinion, is the true father of rock and roll. Almost every one of his songs is a 1-4-5, and he was able to make so many different songs and so many hit songs off of those same 3 chords. He never needed a 4th chord. Well, maybe rarely, but very rarely. So what happened between blues and bluegrass music? Well, take the bluegrass, and you mix that with the funkiness of the blues, and then you mash them together in a blender, and you have rock and roll, which Memphis, Tennessee. It's a 1-4-5 in C with a country beat to it, with a blues mentality. So there you have the birth of rock and roll, and then rock and roll basically like, come on over, baby, whole lot of shaking going on. These are not the right keys. Doesn't matter what key. Come on over, baby, honey, you can't go wrong. And they have a 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, rock. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. All the clock strikes 1. And all of these sounds, this you can really feel that major influence in there. But then something happened in the 60s and 70s especially, that they said, well, look, we've used this chord progression like ad nauseum, so what can we do to make it different? And then some brilliant soul, I don't know who the first one to do this was or who made it famous, but somebody said, well, why don't we take these same old 3 chords. Here, I'm going to put up by the way, folks, if you like what we're doing here, please, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications button, leave us a comment. Let me know what you think. What would you like us to do next? I would love to hear your comments. But basically, it really helps if you could subscribe, hit the notifications bell, and follow us. It would mean the world to us. So I'm gonna put up a diagram here, which will show you that in G we have the 1, 4, and the 5, and that is a clear G major kind of tonality. But somewhere in the 60s or 70s, somebody said, well, what would happen if we take those same 3 chords, but we do this first? And there was a slew of songs in the early 70s, right from Sweet Home Alabama, can't you see, oh, can't you see what that woman been doing to me, can't you see? And then there's, please allow me to introduce myself, I'm a man of wealth and taste. And we have, don't stop thinking about tomorrow, don't stop, it'll soon be here. And we'd have a, go on, take the money and run, go on, take the money and run, don't you know that you are a shooting star? Don't you know? So what are they doing here with all of these songs? And I could go on and on and on. I haven't even scratched the surface of the songs that are written with a 1, 4, 5, except they're playing it 5, 4, 1. This is clearly the tonal center. But if I were to say what key is Sweet Home Alabama in, most people would say D, and that's the end of it, right? Because they would, when they solo over Sweet Home Alabama, they break out their little pentatonic G shape and just have done with it, the minor pentatonics, and it's over. But the reality is that it's not that. It's not D major, because D major would be Do, Mi, Fa, Sol, La. C sharp to D. But that's not what this chord progression has. This chord progression has C in it. So that's not D major. That is D mixolydian. So check it out. This is G major, 1, 4, 5, if you're calling this 1. Now if you call this 1, like on this diagram, well then you have D mixolydian. What is D mixolydian? D mixolydian is exactly the same. If you saw it written on a piece of paper, you would see D as the first chord or the prominent chord in the music if it was written on sheet music, but the key signature up there would be the key signature of G. And that would be of 1 sharp, F sharp, that's it. All the rest are natural notes. Whereas if you were in the key of D, you would have F sharp and C sharp, which you do not. You have C natural in this. The only place where you have F sharp and C natural is in the key of G. And the key of G that is played from D to D. So D is the 5th degree of the major scale of G. And now if you play a major scale from its 5th degree to its 5th degree, you have the mixolydian mode. So you've been playing mixolydian your whole life of playing music and not even knowing it. If you're playing rock and roll, you have been playing mixolydian. So that is the big difference between major, mixolydian. And you end up on that chord, which gives it a nice tension and it makes it want to continue back, because intellectually you know that's home right there. But we keep going off on that journey. We're back home, but start it again. It wants to keep going back. And that's what makes this so interesting and so fun to play. And it makes it new, it makes it novel, because it's those same old 3 overused chords that everybody's been using since the beginning of time, but you just flip it on its head and suddenly it has a nice, refreshing kind of vibe to it. And there are still songs that are being written like that today. If you want to make a really simple 3-chord song and you want it to sound a little bit different than Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb, Mary had a little, right? If you want to make it sound a little more interesting, you just play it from the 5 to the 5. So that's not D major, that's D mixolydian, because you have your C natural. And of course, this works for every single key you're in. Here's a trick to know where you are in the 1-4-5 or the 5-4-1 chord progression, depending on whether you're playing mixolydian or in major. So here's G, 1, 4, 5. Now it makes an L shape. Now this L shape from the top, 1 note on its own, go down to the string below it, and there's 2 notes on that string. 1 note here, 2 notes here. Whenever you have a configuration like that, whatever key you're in, whether you're here, the tonic is on this string. There's one on its own. Here you have two. Well, this is the key signature of this. Even if you were playing this is your tonic, the one note on its own. Now, another way that we can play the 5-4-1 or the Mixolydian version of the 1-4-5 would be to play it from here. D. Not the right key, but it's kind of like Midnight Rambler. Out the Midnight Rambler. Now, how do you know what key this is? Well, again, there's an L shape, but it's in the opposite, as opposed to it's well, it's the one note that's on its own here that will be the key signature. Now, not the tonal center. The tonal center is the note that you're insisting through repetition. You're pushing that chord down people's ears. And it's the end of the song, it's the beginning of the song, it's most of the song. You're saying that this is the tonality. But that doesn't mean that that is the key signature. So it means that if you have this, that little L shape, or this L shape, then a quick way to know what key you're in is the major scale built off of the single note on its own. G major, played from D to D. And it would be the same thing if it was here. Well, here's G again. That's a G chord. But we're playing it from D to D. And that's it. You think you knew the 1-4-5, well, now you know it even better, because the 1-4-5 turned on its head is the sound of classic rock, which is the Mixolydian mode. So I hope that helps you understand these songs even better. Next time you're playing Sweet Home Alabama at the jam, try busting out the Mixolydian mode, which is G major played from D to D, and just see how sweet and how tuneful it sounds, because that's, if you listen to the originals, that's what these guys are doing on there, and it's super nice. So thank you everybody. It is always a privilege and an honor to share this information with you. I hope that you are getting something good out of this. My name is Dwayne Dixon, aka Double D. I'm looking forward to the next one. Have yourself a great week and get a connection with your instrument. Spend some time, love this baby, and explore it, and let's go on this crazy musical journey together. I'm going to see you on the next one. So many possibilities.